Yo, what is going on, guys? Freaky Trades here, bringing you another new weekly stock watch list. Before we get started, though, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. And with that much more being said, we can go ahead and dive into the watch list. So, first things first, you guys know I like to cover earnings. Earnings for this week, completely dry. There is nothing that I'm keeping an eye out for. Any companies that I'm keeping an eye out. So, it's a pretty dry week. Baba is really the only stock that I really care about on Thursday, considering with the whole tariff war that's going on right now with Trump and, against the entire world. So that is something to keep an eye out for and seeing how Baba's going to react and what their guidance is going to be along with that. So besides that, though, there is nothing else here that I'm going to look to play for an after earnings move in any kind of way. So we can go ahead and move on from this. So first things first, when it comes to charting or giving you guys the watch list, is giving you guys the indexes, the overall picture, which is NQ and ES. Futures for tech and futures for the S&P 500. So for NQ here, for this previous week, I know we talked about looking at anything above 20,200 with room up to 20,400. We had actually struggled with that the entire week. From Monday to Friday, we had struggled. So we could see that we tried creating a flat top at around 20,270, and we struggled with that as well. So for the meantime, keeping things pretty simple, I will keep an eye out for anything above 20,300 for a strong close above that. You can see we closed above there once, and the following candle, we engulfed the entire body of the candle. Not the wick, but the body of the candle. So pretty bearish there, but we are still holding up well above this 20,000 area. So next step forward for me would be anything above 20,300 into that important area at 20,400. So that is about it for NQ. I have no trend lines there. We're pretty clear on that end. Next up is ES, the futures of the S&P 500. So you can use SPY, you can use QQQ as well for NQ. I prefer the bigger numbers just because my brain interprets this a lot better. So I like to use ES and NQ personally. So with ES here, you can see that we had struggled to actually hold above 5,700 this entire week as well. So kind of the same idea with NQ, only with ES, it looks a lot weaker here. Same idea though as last week, as far as the same Sunday stock watch list goes, but this time around, anything above 5,730 is what I'm going to be keeping an eye out for and see if we get any kind of momentum or any buying pressure along that with the market. So going to be an important week to see if ES and NQ can hold above these highs that they made recently, or if we're going to draw back or consolidate within a range. So that's going to be important to note for this entire week. So I'll talk about the side watches first real quickly because these setups are kind of whatever and they depend a lot on how the market's setting up. So first things first here is AMD. You can see that the last high we made here around 105 was from Wednesday on April 2nd, and the last two times we retested this area was this previous week, which was on Monday, it looks like, right? No, we traded this on Monday. Yeah. So this is for Monday. So then, yeah, earnings broke out on Tuesday, which we haven't come back and tested that. And then on Thursday, we actually came back and broke it by a few cents. If I go back here on the 30-minute, you can see what I'm talking about. So my idea here with AMD, and the reason why it's a side watch, is because it needs to set up in a really specific way, which it would need to be ahead of the market. Market would need to be weak or gap down over the weekend or sometime this week for me to validate 105 as an actual play. So with that being said, AMD needs to be ahead of the market here. I would be down to try 105 again. Not to say again because I haven't even played the level yet, but AMD 105 is definitely an area of interest for me where I would want to trade this if it's showing all the right signs for me to want to trade this. So that's AMD. Another setup here that could be developing is Apple. This currently is consolidating between 193, maybe even 195 to 200. You can see how many times we had struggled to actually have a good close above 200 or even push above that since Tuesday. So my idea with this is, since we did break out on after hours on Tuesday, my idea with this is kind of the same idea with AMD, where this needs to be ahead of the market. Market needs to be a week itself, and that's the only way I'd look to take this trade above 200 or maybe even 201 from that after hours high that we made on Tuesday. So really niche, really specific ways I need these stocks to set up for me to want to take them. Of course, we have this gap from 214.50 all the way up to 221. We are currently $14 to $16 away from that, so I'm not even going to bother talking about that one. So I'm going to be talking about the closer things, more things that are like just close to us that we can trade. So there's Apple and AMD, just side watch list that I thought to cover, just to add more time to the watch list video, or even give you guys more future setups and see how I view the market. Next up is Tesla, and then I have one more stock after this. So Tesla here, eventually we did break on Friday with the consolidation that we've been stuck in for like what, 2 weeks now? Yeah, roughly 2 weeks now. We had broken out on Friday. Nor signaled, I think, a 50% signal on this, which is absolutely insane. And then after that, he had to go. He had some Wi-Fi issues. So with this though, I will be looking for a continuation here. Maybe not at 300, but maybe at around 305, or even at the high here at 307. Now that this is broken out of the consolidation, we did close above here at 295, which is a good sign. Next step for me though is to see if we can get a close above 300 or get any momentum or continuation off of this without the market needing any help. Tesla is a beast on its own. It doesn't really depend on the market when it does have these kind of consolidation breaks. Most of the time it just does it on its own, depending on the market sentiment, and then along with the stock sentiment and how it's moving that morning according with the market. So Tesla would be interested at 305 and 307 and then 310. Obviously, pretty areas as of right now. A lot of people would say they're far away, but $10 away for Tesla is nothing. The stock can move $20 to $30 in a day if it really wants to. So that's Tesla. And then last but not least is NVIDIA. NVIDIA here, I would be interested on a smaller time frame setup here. I have a trend line here on the 4 hour as well. You could see if I put this on the daily chart, you guys will see what I am talking about. So from the all-time high, you can see that we've had multiple rejections off of it, and then recently we actually rejected 2 times as well off of this trend line or near this trend line. So my idea with this is to be looking at 118.60 here for a push above into 119 and then 120. Now on the smaller time frames, it lines up a little bit differently, so I'm going to be following more of the bigger time frame. So on the 1 year 1 day, this is breaking at around 117. So this is the reason why I'm looking at this small consolidation here at 118.60 into 119, and then from 119, I'm going to be looking to trade this at 120. Now we did break 120. Let's see, yeah, we broke it after hours, just from a push that we had earlier this week from a Trump announcement during the end of the day as well, over some news for tariffs with chips. So obviously NVIDIA had a lot of good news off of that, and I will be looking for a continuation off of this. So this is more kind of the AMD setup, where this kind of depends on how the market's setting up, and this would need to be ahead for me to want to take it. This has steps to it, but NVIDIA being more liquid and having more follow through than AMD, this is a lot more secure of a stock or trade or even play that I can look at. So, but yeah, that is about it for the watch list though, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. With that much more being said, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Say happy Mother's Day to your guys' moms. They're only here for a short time, not a long time, so enjoy them while you guys have them. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and yeah, take care and peace out.